Morning, everyone. So, to start off this whole process, I thought I'd introduce myself. My name is Odette. We're from Glencoe. We have a little farm out at Helpmacard, but based in Glencoe in town. We are basically jumping onion, and we do everything from gardening, seeds, seedlings, soil mixes, propagation, you name it, and we love it. Absolutely love it. So we also then include things like our preserves and pickles. We also do butters, sauces, spice mixes, and generally everything that can be used in the kitchen. So the process of what we like to do and how we like to follow this is what would nature do? So if something had to start as a plant and bolt into seeds, how would nature then apply those seeds to the area where it is? We give it a little bit of a hand with extra watering, a little bit of feeding every now and then, but we do not apply any sort of pesticides, pest control, bird control, or even in my case, dog control. Um, our dogs love the garden, the birds love the garden. We leave it very open. You'll often find a little place where the birds have decided that it's the new food source. We don't mind. That's part of nature, how nature works. And we like to play with nature. We don't like to preempt anything that is outside of the natural way things would grow. In some respects, when I say we help nature out a little, we create an environment that assists with the process. Let me give you an example. Garlic in the pots. The garlic in the pots, literally just give it a home and a safe little environment away from the pests, i.e. cutworms, and the flies that affect the actual bulbs. We also put it in there, it's a lot more manageable, a lot more workable, and also you can move it around to where the sun is. That's just taking garlic into account. What we also like to do is create these raised beds. That stops things like the slugs, the snails, and also gives us a little bit of a easier handling when it comes to the bending over and the manipulation of the products when harvesting, um, and also the transplanting, etc. As you can see, there's flies over it. Every now and then dogs come in there and there's a little bit of a pea spot or something. But it's all how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be easy, efficient, and time efficient. You're not supposed to be spending hours and hours and hours a day in the garden. A lot of our garden is literally just seeds placed where we find a sunny spot. Find a container and we'll put something in it. We like to play with the different types of vegetables and herbs. How we do that is we experiment. So this year what I've done is I've actually taken a bunch of new types of vegetables, what people would call the exotics, and I've placed them in different spots in the yard. Sunny, shady, open to the elements, nice and sheltered. We've also tried to make environments for it that is natural to its way of growing. You'll often find in the garden how we've done it is we've planted broccoli and celery right next to each other. We've planted a bit of kohlrabi right next to the carrots. We plant the carrots oftentimes in nice deep buckets with a hell of a lot of seeds in them, and we use the carrot tops as the salad, salad leaves. They're sweet, they're lovely, especially when they're nice and young. You can fry them up in and amongst your vegetables, i.e., the potatoes, the onions, etc. or with spinach. And all it does is it actually bulks it up. Very high in vitamin A, very high in vitamin C. So it becomes a happy medium to bulking it up. And there's no waste to it. Our broccoli is looking lovely this year. And what we've done with the broccoli is we've actually used some of the older leaves, chopped it up, fried a bit of onion, a little bit of garlic, chopped it up, and used that as the spinach. Works like a dream. We're commonly known for the exotics when it comes to the root vegetables or herbs, i.e., your turmerics, your garlic, horseradishes, and what's the other one? Ginger. Our ginger did not do really well this year. Our garlic has done very well. Our horseradish did beautifully. Here's a nice horseradish plant, a couple of plants actually, just stuck in a open-ended barrel, um, and just put in the ground in a nice semi-shady spot, and it's just been pretty successful. So we're hoping to get possibly about between 4 and 8 kgs of nice horseradish rhizomes there. The rhizome is basically the root, how it shoots off from the other roots and creates its own new little plant. We love the salad vegetables. Here we've got a bunch of the different lettuces. And as you can see, our pots are and boxes are very full. Those full boxes, all it allows you to do is on a daily basis, pick a couple of leaves, use them in your salads, use them to bulk up your meals, use them to add a little bit of greenery to your product for the day. And it makes life a little just a bit more interesting. Okay, so let's go through the pots and what we have here currently. At this stage, we've done, so this is this year's planting. So a lot of this planting happened between March and April. So as you can see, it's pretty I can't get the word out, prolific. We love the root vegetables, the parsnips, the radishes, the turnips. Celery is not really my favorite, but we've had quite a lot of success with it, and we've had a lot of people asking for the actual celery stalks once they're up and running. So we're going to try it in two ways on the celery specifically, which, as you can see, we've just stuck in a little area there, and we've also got some in a little box here. Is try to use them as baby vegetables. Remember, if you are using the baby vegetables, it's a lot sweeter, it's a lot more intense in flavor, and it retains its minerals and vitamins a lot easier. And it's a lot more healthier for you, and it's just basically a lot tastier. We have in the front here, we've got a mix of everything. We've got kohlrabi, Brussels sprouts, a little bit of tatsoi, a little bit of pak choi. We've got a bit of turnip, and basically some stuff I can't really identify. But that's the joy of it, isn't it? You take what you've got in the box or what you've got in the seeds. And this is just a little side note of what I do with the seeds. So if I'm planting and I see, I've put a couple of too many seeds in the pot or in the seed trays, and I've got some left over, I'll take a little container, I'll mix all the seeds together based on that particular planting area, season, time, mix them all together, and I will literally scatter them in the garden wherever I find a spot. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not, and you're probably going to have about a 60% success rate anyway. So find a little spot. If it germinates, it's obviously the right spot and it's nice and happy and healthy. If it's not, you know what? Try something different next time. So as you can see, that side there, we've got the different mixes. So we like to just play around with it. In the back here, I've got quite a lot of beetroot. Again, a little bit of kohlrabi, bit of the watermelon radish, which is a beautiful little radish. Nice and colorful on the outside, beautiful, and looks like a miniature little watermelon on the inside. On here, we've got turnip, which is the standard purple turnip with the white flesh. We've got celery, and we've got quite a bit of kohlrabi there. If you're not familiar with kohlrabi, it actually is quite a gentle root vegetable, taste-wise. It's a mixture, I would say, between a turnip and a pear, beautifully done as a mash, or you can cut it up into tiny little pieces and use it as a salad base. The best way to do that is cut it into little matchsticks and make matchsticks chips out of them, or very thinly sliced crisps. Nice gentle oil, cook it up, use it, and it is absolutely delicious. Very, very good for you as well. Yeah, we've got more salad leaves. Again, as you can see, we love the salad side of it. We've got 4 or 5 different salad leaves in here. We also have the Asian salad leaves in here, which is, as I say again, the tatsoi and the pak choi. And they do pretty well in boxes, and they're pretty easy to grow. You don't really have to do too much to them. As you can see, our pots are quite low, our boxes. How we like to do that is we plant them pretty low, so we don't fill the boxes up completely. This allows you a little bit of space. So when you're having to feed them, we take our chicken manure base, we mix it up with some soil and a little bit of plant material, and we just top it up. And you build it up. And what that does to the root vegetables specifically is it creates a better root structure. It's a lot stronger, the plant itself. And at times, like specifically with tomatoes, obviously the wrong time of the year for tomatoes, but with tomatoes, it creates a better and stronger stem. This gives you a lot more space on that stem and the shoots that come out for additional tomatoes and a bigger yield. The nice thing about it is doing it with the lettuce leaves and the leafy products is that it gives you quite a lot of scope for the product to expand. It gives you a harvest that lasts a lot longer as well. So that's what we like to do with it. As far as pest control is concerned, as I've mentioned before, we don't like any unnatural pest control. So you know what, if we have cutworms in the garden, all we do is we spray a little bit of very light solution of dishwashing liquid, and a teaspoon of bicarb, spray it over the ground before you plant, and it doesn't kill them, it just moves them away from that area. But as I say, that's a very light solution. So again, you can see the tatsoi in some of the boxes, and you can see the tatsoi in the bags as well as in the pots. Those pots there, those are trials. So we're just testing to see which is the better container. At this stage, we would say that the boxes are better. They also haven't done very well into the ground direct, but I don't think where we did plant them, we actually had them in a strong enough heat position. Okay, so we were very lucky this year in finding a little spot in the garden. It's not very big, trust me. Look at it. Finding a little spot in the garden that gives us probably about between 4 and 6 hours of lovely, uninterrupted sun. Please bear in mind, when you're planning your garden has to accommodate where your sun is going to be. So just think about it. If in winter your sun obviously is a lot lower, even 12 o'clock like it is now, it's pretty deep into the horizon. However, in the middle of summer, you're not going to get any sort of reprieve from that sun in this spot. So the sun's going to bake down and you're not going to get any reprieve. At this point in time, we get a lovely sort of quiet spot in the morning, nice and shady. And then from here, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, nice and shady again. So the tip to this is always remember where your sun is going to be at certain times of the day. 99% of plants like the morning sun. The afternoon sun is brutal, specifically in our area. Our winters here are glorious during the day. Nights very cold. So be careful what you're planting where. We leave also the leaves just to fall where they are. If they fall on the driveway, we just rake them up into the garden. What this does is it mulches. Now, mulching is just a very basic way of saying you're putting a blanket over the rooting structure. You're creating the moisture control, and you're also creating moisture retention. Okay, it protects the roots, and it gives it a little bit of a longer period in between waterings. Right, so that's how we apply literally the natural way of planting. Our tomatoes, for some reason, have done pretty well where it is at the moment. So I know that in summer, this is exactly where I'm going to be planting a batch of tomatoes and different types. That was just a bit of an experiment. As you can see, the stems are lovely and strong and straight. That's because every little fiber or hair that shows out on a tomato stem is actually a potential root. That's fantastic about tomatoes. The deeper you plant it, the better the root structure will be. Better the root structure, as I said, the more prolific your harvest is going to be, and the longer period you've got to harvest with. We've also got things like that we've tried, which has been pretty successful, is the peas in their little bags, but they do appreciate the ground direct planting rather. So that's just a little thing that we're going to be doing in the new year. We won't be planting it into the bags. What I have used with the peas for a lot is the actual shoots to add to salads. A beautiful little salad addition. So yeah, enjoy that. Okay, so then we've also got onions, and on this little bag here, we've got a bunch of leeks, and as you can see, they're all ready for transplanting. It takes forever because I was not very clever, and I put in about 500 seeds there. So for some reason, they all grew. So we're going to have to find a spot for that. Nice thing about leeks, they don't need much space, okay? And you can harvest them from very young or quite mature. But be careful, if they go too mature, they go woody. We've got some nice spring onions here. Try them in the boxes. Quite like what it's done here, but I'm not too impressed with the growth rate. The growth rate here should have been almost double of what it is at the moment. So I think I'm going to focus on the spring onions as well as the onions into the ground directly. Here's what I was speaking about, as in the carrots. Carrots, we use these tops and they just become part of the salad or to bulk up a meal. There's our nice little one. As you can see, some of the mustard spinach and the mustard seeds have just thrown seed all over the place, and we leave it. I mean, how beautiful is that for the bees? Unfortunately, I've got two huge big, well, fortunately, I should say, we've got two huge big hives in the property, and these hives, these birds are pretty happy where they are. There's plenty to eat for them. We haven't been able to harvest any honey because basically we're just too scared. So, right, then we dump a packet everywhere here and there where we find a little space. We try and the more sensitive products, your cauliflowers, etc. We like to find sort of almost a filtered sun area for it. It's doing very well. We transplanted these about 2 weeks ago, as soon as they started getting their true leaves. I'll explain that to you now. And they were